Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. He played a mental game with Drake, a mental game of chess, where he convinced Drake, yo, all them songs like push-ups where you're just popping shit's not gonna work. You're gonna have to get cerebral with me and start thinking.
Yeah.
Drake's viral on-stage meltdown is still echoing across the internet, and Kendrick Lamar didn't waste a second firing back with full confidence. Fans are already calling this the moment that sealed their entire rivalry, like the final stamp on a battle that's been bubbling for years. During a packed show in Los Angeles, Kendrick stopped mid-performance, letting the whole crowd feel the tension before he spoke with that trademark calm swagger. He smirked and dropped a line that shook the whole arena. "We don't break down on stage, we break records." The crowd exploded right on cue, instantly recognizing that he was aiming straight at Drake's emotional moment in Amsterdam. Phones shot up everywhere, and within minutes, clips of Kendrick's comments were everywhere, spreading faster than anyone expected. People online couldn't stop talking about it, calling this the moment that proved Kendrick's position in the culture. The wild part is that fans say he didn't even need a full track this time. The timing, the message, and the confidence alone made it feel like a public stamp of dominance. Drake's circle hasn't said a word so far, which pushed even more rumors that he doesn't have a plan ready to respond. Right now, the difference between them looks huge. One artist caught slipping in the spotlight, while the other is using every moment to stand taller with even more control over the narrative. With momentum sliding completely toward Kendrick, hip-hop fans are asking a question nobody expected to hear this fast. Has the Drake versus Kendrick battle already reached its breaking point? And now the music world has to pause for a second because new updates are rolling in and shifting everything. Reports are floating around that Drake, his team, and his most loyal supporters are preparing for something major.
If it wasn't for Pusha T, Drake and Kendrick might have never had a beef. Back in 2018, when Pusha T and Drake had a beef, Pusha exposed that Drake had a son who he was keeping a secret, and the internet decided Drake had lost that battle. And after this, Drake made his boundaries clear.
I'm sure I could say something about, your lovely lady or, a child or a family member, and you're just gonna wanna not really rap anymore.
But having learned his lesson from the Pusha T beef, Drake decided to not let Kendrick get the best of him and name-dropped his fiance on his song Push-Ups.
I be with some bodyguards like Whitney, top say drop your little midget ass, better fucking.
And then each of them went back and forth with one more diss track, but then Drake decided to unload the clip and this whole beef became about dirt about each other's family lives.
Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could've left the kids out of this, don't blame me.
So without Pusha T, Drake probably would have never brought up Kendrick's family and this beef may not have escalated the way that it did. What do you think? Let me know and follow for all updates.
Maybe Drake's circle is trying to gear up for a comeback move, but with tension rising fast, this moment feels like the start of one of the wildest chapters modern hip-hop has ever seen. Drake, once praised as one of the biggest names in rap, is now being labeled the ultimate Karen, flipping a regular rap feud into an unbelievable push for DNA tests and extra paperwork that nobody saw coming. What started as straight lyrical competition has turned into a messy tangle of legal moves, public claims, and questions surrounding his credibility, leaving real marks across the culture. This isn't just about one argument anymore. It's the slow unraveling of an image Drake spent years building up, and people can see every crack forming in real time. At the center of it all is the question everyone's whispering. Has Drake's behavior pulled him away from what hip-hop is supposed to stand for? His recent choices feel less like artistry and more like a personal mission to prove himself, and that shift is throwing heavy shadows over the legacy he's trying to protect. The impact is stretching far beyond his team, shaking up the way fans look at rap conflicts because these battles were always supposed to play out through music, not piles of legal filings. Meanwhile, all eyes are swinging toward Kendrick Lamar and his circle, who seem to be handling the situation with calculated calm instead of chaotic reactions. Their steady approach is making the contrast stand out even more. One side moving with focus and artistry, the other side moving with frustration and confusion, and the difference is loud. This week feels like a major turning point, revealing exactly what happens when an image-based empire runs into an opponent grounded in respect, credibility, and skill. This situation is showing the culture who's really aligned with hip-hop's core and who's drifting far away from it. And it's becoming clearer by the day.
It sound like Jigsaw on the record. Yo, really me this, really me that. I know something about hey, are you ready now to play Have You Ever? Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then all of a sudden when I'm thinking, all right, cool, like, I'm ready to put my thinking hat on for the next joint, he's like, fuck that, we back in the club. I'm like, what? And the joint is fire.
It's brilliant.
This moment is bigger than one feud, bigger than charts, and bigger than bragging rights. It's about every artistic standard that shaped the culture from the beginning of creative expression itself. The weight of what's happening right now is huge because the stakes stretch far beyond 2 stars trading sharp lines on stage. On one side, there's someone running wild, posting images of another man's family members and trying to force a gotcha moment that never existed in the first place. Drake's camp keeps rolling out piles of claims and stacks of paperwork like it proves something, but the whole thing feels like smoke with nothing real behind it. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar's side sees this whole show for what it is: unnecessary chaos and noise that distracts from the real art. Instead of matching that frantic energy, they stayed grounded, focusing on the music with calm confidence. No dramatic rants online, no messy theatrics, just a steady presence rooted in pure artistry and skill. Their response was simple but powerful. Take it back to Not Like Us, the track that turned into the pulse of this entire conflict. Fans, artists, and everyone watching the situation drift right back to that record every time more drama pops up, and every time Drake's public spiral gets louder, the people hit play on Kendrick's anthem even harder.
But I wonder if he had this song in the tuck the whole time. Like, this song is a bop. I'm telling you.
He's amazing at making music.
Yo,
he mentions family matters in the song. So it leads you to believe either Drake does have the leak and he got family matters early, or that motherfucker can microwave.
The more Drake tries to drag this fight into strange territory that hip-hop never needed, the more the culture moves toward Kendrick's statement that flipped the whole battle on its head. And this is exactly why the situation looks so wild right now. Because the so-called Karen-style tactics are turning the feud into a strange search for DNA tests instead of bars, timing, and respect. The culture has already made its decision, and it's loud. The music is speaking way louder than any lawsuit, louder than any stack of paperwork, and louder than every desperate distraction thrown into the mix. Once again, the record shot right back up the charts, reminding everyone why it's locked in as one of the biggest tracks of this era. Here's the part Drake's team doesn't want to face. No matter what he claims he's trying to prove with this legal push, the real evidence is happening out in the open. The rise of Not Like Us isn't coming from bots or some mechanical boost. It's real fans, real listeners, and real demand from the culture responding naturally and with force. For Drake's most loyal supporters, watching this unfold has become harder by the day. Every attempt to twist the story or clean up the situation just ends up adding more embarrassment, keeping the cycle going. What was supposed to protect his image has flipped completely because each emotional moment only makes the track he wanted gone even bigger in the streets. The irony is wild. Every time Drake leans into these Karen-style tactics and drags the situation into strange directions, the public reacts instantly by streaming Not Like Us even more. Instead of fading out, the song keeps getting louder, stronger, and more dominant on every chart and playlist out there. Kendrick's side doesn't need inflated numbers or tricks. Drake's own moves keep the record alive and blasting through the culture with even more momentum. This is where the difference between both sides becomes impossible to miss. One camp is dropping endless posts and messy statements that flood timelines with pure desperation, while the other stays grounded in music and real support. People keep pressing play, backing Kendrick, and giving even more strength to the track's cultural power. Not Like Us keeps thriving because it represents something the culture can feel. Authenticity. No courtroom filings, no paperwork stacks, and no online noise can cover that up, no matter how hard someone tries. The more distractions pop up, the more listeners return to the anthem that defined this entire clash. Even when you look at how fans react to the music itself, the divide is clear as day. One side is standing on real artistry while the other is tangled in gimmicks, confusion, and moves that don't match the spirit of rap at all. Put both sides next to each other, and the contrast gets even sharper. Kendrick Lamar keeps moving with professionalism, focus, and clarity, keeping everything rooted in skill and presence. Meanwhile, the so-called courtside Karen of rap keeps pulling the whole situation into strange lanes, making the comparison even louder. One artist is building legacy, while the other seems stuck chasing empty validation that never lands. For Drake, this moment has created bigger losses than he expected because every action feeds illusions instead of truth. His supporters are left holding on to a fantasy world, trying to deny what played out in the battle, even when the culture already saw it happen. Instead of turning the narrative in his favor, his strategy keeps backfiring, trapping him in the role of the desperate one in the situation. On the other side, Kendrick Lamar is moving with a completely different type of energy, steady, confident, and untouched by the chaos swirling around him. Professionalism is stamped on every move Kendrick makes, and it's showing louder than ever. He just wrapped the European leg of the Grand National Tour, his 39th performance, and people are calling it one of the strongest live runs hip-hop has ever seen. Through all of this, his focus stayed locked on the music, not the chaos swirling around him. Even with Drake trying to drag personal matters and family angles into their back and forth, Kendrick refuses to step into that lane. Instead, he doubles down on his message by letting the music speak for him, proving that true artistry doesn't need messy diversions or courtroom energy to hit hard. Through discipline and performance, he represents what hip-hop was built on: respect, skill, and cultural truth. And the wildest part is this: Kendrick just pulled off something no other rapper has matched. Not even the so-called Karen of rap who keeps trying to shift the spotlight with noise. This achievement is historic, and the people who've been part of the journey have shown nothing but genuine love. SZA and Mustard especially made it public, thanking Kendrick for letting them play such a major role in the tour. Night after night performing beside him, their teamwork helped lock in what is now being called the biggest rap tour ever, the Certified Tour of the Summer. Every stop, every stage, every crowd added even more power to the movement. The praise for Kendrick has been overwhelming, from fans in the seats to the artists sharing the stage with him. And through all of it, he never drifted from his artistry, staying committed to the music no matter how much chaos tried to circle around him. This is exactly what Kendrick was talking about when he said, "You can try to manipulate the game, but you cannot fake authenticity." And now it's playing out right in front of everyone. As the noise from the other side starts fading out, real reactions, real love, and real admiration keep pouring in for Kendrick's work, proving that the power always comes from genuine people being moved, not manipulated. That's why, outside all the chaos stirred up by Drake's distractions, the conversation has shifted towards celebrating artistry, discipline, and authenticity. The highest praise is landing on Kendrick's side because the impact can't be denied. The music is louder than any publicity stunt or messy detour Drake tries to throw into the mix. And even before Drake pushed things into full legal theatrics, the tension was already rising. Through reckless comments and chaotic rollouts, he was setting up the exact moment we're witnessing now. One artist coming apart while the other is building history in real time. Then there's the strange Pinocchio nickname Drake keeps trying to pin on Kendrick, even though Kendrick barely posts online at all. But even with Kendrick being quiet publicly, his music and words show he's fully aware of everything happening. Nothing gets past him. And still, none of Drake's theatrics seem to move him even a little bit. Meanwhile, Drake keeps giving long speeches about Kendrick during shows, almost like he's trying to force a reaction that never comes. Kendrick's silence says more than any reply ever could, and that silence seems to frustrate Drake even more, pushing him deeper into emotional outbursts and rushed decisions that only make his image look weaker. In a time where embarrassment can explode online in seconds, every slip gets magnified instantly, and Kendrick's refusal to walk into that trap is powerful. From the moment Like That dropped, his focus stayed locked on the music, the craft, and the message. Nothing extra, nothing messy. He hasn't stepped into the clownish cycle of impulsive posts, attention chasing, or petty online drama that ruins credibility. The contrast between both sides is impossible to ignore now. One artist is out here scrambling for DNA tests and dragging the situation into territory nobody has ever seen in hip-hop history, while the other refuses to waste even a drop of energy on anything outside pure expression. Kendrick keeps delivering his message through records and high-level performances, proving that the art speaks louder than any distraction. And this difference is exactly why the culture keeps standing behind him. His discipline, restraint, and artistry show real strength, while Drake's repeated attempts at sensational moves keep revealing how frantic the energy on his side has become. In a battle of legacy, authenticity will always outweigh spectacle. When you look at what's unfolding right now, everything becomes clear. Kendrick Lamar is still focused on the art, still maintaining one of the strongest runs of his career, and only acknowledging the Karen-style noise when it naturally fits into his story. His discipline protects the genre, lifting hip-hop instead of dragging it down. These artistic moments keep pushing Kendrick's movement forward without sacrificing authenticity, showing the culture what real leadership in music looks like. The silence Kendrick keeps is louder than any long rant, showing how committed he is to his craft and how steady his focus remains. His approach protects the foundation of hip-hop while still pushing it into a new level of artistry, proving that discipline can be just as powerful as any headline moment. Meanwhile, the other side of this rivalry looks like a full circus, a messy show unfolding in real time, undercutting everything hip-hop has worked to build over decades. And through all of that noise, Kendrick has become a symbol of pure creativity, keeping every gimmick at arm's length even as his personal life gets pulled into legal paperwork. Now that Kendrick and his family have been pulled into court filings, there's uncertainty about how the label might respond. But but even that chaos can't shake him. Instead, it shows just how far the desperation has gone on one side and how unbothered true artistry remains on the other. What Drake's side still doesn't seem to understand is that all these attempts to undermine Kendrick only give him more fuel. Every stunt becomes more inspiration, more energy, and more drive to create. That kind of pressure doesn't break him, it sharpens him, leading to more powerful records, stronger verses, and an even deeper cultural impact. Nothing is slowing that momentum. As this rivalry grows, the whole hip-hop world is watching something that feels bigger than music itself. It's legacy versus spectacle, artistry versus desperation, and discipline versus chaos. Kendrick Lamar stands tall as the one representing control, respect, and real dedication to the craft, while Drake keeps placing himself at the center of the confusion swirling around this feud. Using lawsuits and theatrics instead of verses has created one of the sharpest contrasts the culture has ever seen. Fans and industry veterans are calling this a defining chapter in rap history because the difference between both sides is now too loud to ignore. On one end, Kendrick's performances, tours, and records are bringing crowds together across continents, reminding people that music is the heartbeat of this culture. His movement is built on unity, energy, and real artistry that speaks to people everywhere. On the other side, Drake's obsession with paperwork, contracts, and wild accusations is turning him into a cautionary tale, showing what happens when ego gets louder than creativity. Industry insiders are already sounding the alarm, pointing out how risky this strategy could be in the long run. Labels are watching closely because if Drake somehow manages to turn lawsuits into weapons against diss records, it could shift the entire foundation of rap battles forever. What was once an art form built on lyrical competition and sharp skill could be replaced with legal filings and censorship, something nobody ever imagined for hip-hop. But even with this threat hanging over the culture, Kendrick has shown exactly how to respond. Not with countersuits, not with angry speeches, but with powerful music that reflects the truth of the moment. His restraint mixed with his unmatched delivery keeps proving that hip-hop is at its strongest when it leans into authenticity instead of manufactured chaos. The whole world is watching this unfold, and with every move, the line between legacy and gimmick gets wider. History is being written in real time, and the choice of who truly represents the future of hip-hop is becoming clearer every single day. What we're seeing right now makes it impossible to deny. Kendrick Lamar isn't just the greatest rapper of this generation, he's one of the greatest to ever step to a microphone in all of hip-hop history. Beyond the music, he has turned into one of the most important cultural figures in modern media, a true beacon of creativity and truth whose artistry stands untouched. At this point, the stakes go far beyond any battle. This is about who carries the torch for the future of the entire genre. So the real question becomes, how will Kendrick keep moving forward, while Drake, the so-called Karen, keeps sinking deeper into spectacle? Will the noise from labels and court filings slow Kendrick down, or will it only sharpen his focus even more? Every sign points to Kendrick staying exactly who he has always been. Locked into the music, locked into the message, and locked into the unshakable artistry that separates legends from distractions. This is the moment where the whole culture is deciding whose story will last and whose collapse will be remembered as a warning. And as everything settles, Kendrick's silence and consistency keep sounding louder than any legal filing, rant, or dramatic outburst could ever hope to match. Now it's your turn to jump in. What do you think about Kendrick's response compared to everything being thrown his way? Where do you stand on this whole Karen situation? And how do you see the next chapter unfolding? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, share this video, and make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss another deep breakdown into the twists and turns shaking hip-hop today. See you in the next video.